Howdy, howdy. Welcome to the show. I'm Tommy. This is the Hotspur Hood. Levy out, Levy enabler. You're all invited, but if you are a Levy enabler, leave now. Leave now. I'm joking, of course. Everyone is invited. Just to confirm, the Udogie thumbnail, it can be a little bit confusing if you don't look at the title. He is not linked with Liverpool. That is not what I'm getting at. Not at all. Udogie's not on his way to Liverpool. We'll be talking Udogie. We'll be talking Liverpool, of course, plus many other topics. Today is question time. I have a list of questions I'm going to look at. I'm going to look to answer. You get in the chat. You give me your answers or ask your own questions. Complete interactivity on these shows, on these solo streams. So if you can be bothered, get in the chat. Have you say. Before we get going, please make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. We've got super chats on as well if you want to support the channel further. I'll tell you what, we're 300 subs away from 3,000 subs. I can't believe I even got to 100 or 500 to 1,000. Each milestone is fantastic. So if you haven't yet subbed, please make sure you do. It's free, as is smashing a like. Really, really does make a difference. Okay, first up, before we get into the main topics, I saw this. I saw this. I know there's loads of other people streaming at the same time right now. I get most watches on the recorded version. So even if you're watching the recorded, please make sure you comment. So another player has won a trophy. Lucas Moura, 4 months after leaving Spurs. He's very happy by the looks of things. I think it's well over 100 trophies now ex-Spurs players have won at other clubs since we last won a trophy. So that's 16 years, 2008 going back 16 years, over 100. That's crazy. And I tell you what, the Brazilian Cup's not easy. 92 teams in the Brazilian Cup, I think similar to the FA Cup. Very, very strong. Very, very strong. The Brazilian League is very, very strong now. Big influx of players as to be expected over the next year, the next 2 years. There's a lot of outstanding Brazilian players. One of the biggest pulls that Brazil are going to that Brazil have had recently, over recent history, you could say. Look, I'll be lying. I would be lying if I said I was happy for him. I'm not. I'm not happy for him. I usually would be because he's a nice guy. Lucas Moura is a nice guy. But I'm so disillusioned with the fact that we haven't won a trophy since 2008. It's very difficult for me to be happy for him. Many great players have come and gone at Spurs over those 16 years. And the ones that have, the great players that have all gone on to win things and numerous titles, which is very, very depressing. And Lucas just adds to that. Mr. Moura just adds to that. Another trophy winner. I've had a little, like a virusy update thing come up. I'm okay now. I just wanted to add a brief mention there. We're going to get to the questions now. Brief piece on the Arsenal game. I haven't done a solo show since the Arsenal game, so I'll talk a couple of things here. I'll get into a couple of issues surrounding the game, but nothing too great. As I said, it's been done over and over again. It's 4 days since the game. Magnificent game. I have to say, during the game and after the game, especially during and after post game, the rivalry appears to be strong as ever. It really, really does seem like we've got that fire back, that North London rivalry where it does matter whether it's white or red. Over recent years, you could say the Chelsea or West Ham derbies were bigger. Because we wanted West Ham to suffer after they've done pretty well over the last 2 seasons, and Chelsea too. For a long while, it's not just through Jose and Conte. It was actually pre-Jose and Conte. You know, the rivalry wasn't as it was once upon a time. But it seems like it's back. The reactions from the Arsenal fans, from the media, the Spurs fans, it's been incredible. Especially if you're on Twitter or X or other social media networks. It's going off. It's been going off more than it has done over the last few years since the draw on Sunday. I suppose, look, when we beat them 3-0 a couple of years back to sneak into top 4 under Conte, I was at that game, and it was the stadium atmosphere was magnificent. After that, it calmed down, but it seems to be intense now. Arsenal weren't expecting that from Spurs, especially going in front twice. I don't think they were expecting us to come back twice. It's as simple as that. It's the rivalry looks to be back, and who can be happier? A strong Premier League has big rivalries, and a strong Spurs and a strong Arsenal teams potentially fighting for the titles. I don't think we're there yet, but we're gonna talk about that soon. The odds suggest that maybe we will be in a title race this season. But it's a strong Arsenal and a strong Spurs is only good for the Premier League and only good for each of the clubs, quite frankly. So it was a good game. I mean, look, 2 years ago, we would have been clear favourites. Clear favourites this time 2 years ago. So things have changed for Arsenal in the last 2 years. Last season especially, they probably should have won the league and they finished runners-up. Look, the game itself, plenty of goals, plenty of talking points. Of course, this all adds to why the passion has been so great since. I'm not going to go through all of them. It's time to look ahead. Time to look ahead to Liverpool, 5:30 on Saturday. But I mean, just a few of the things off the top of my head. I mean, the Romero handball, Arsenal's first half dominance. Yeah, it was. First 30 minutes, first 35 minutes, they did dominate. But we fought back. We recovered. Second half, especially, I'd say the first 20, 30 minutes of the second half, we were quality. We were really, really good first part of the second half. We came back. We reacted. I love the reaction. I love the banter between the two clubs. And I've been part of it. I really have. I've been part of it and I've loved it. Serious beef between both fans now. Serious beef. As we want. That's what we need in these derbies. We've let them know. We've let them know we're no shrinking violet. But, it is very, very early days. All the points I'm briefly mentioning here, I'm going to pick up in depth as we go further in today's show. The Premier League's always better. It's always better with a big rivalry. I'll tell you what, the last 10 years or so, I think the sides have been neck and neck in terms of player quality. It's been neck and neck. I'd say we've had the better team over the last decade. For 7 of those years, maybe 8 of those years, we've had the better team. But the lack of trophies suggests that we haven't. In that decade, in those 4 years, in the 10 years, they've won 4 FA Cups. We've won nothing. But it's great to see Paul Merson, Darren Bent and the likes have to eat their words, look like fools after their predictions and how much they lamented us in the summer, Merson and Bent. So I like seeing that. I love seeing that, and long may that continue. What's with Darren Bent? Why has he got such a big agenda against his former club? He never played for Arsenal. They didn't want him. We want him. We spent money on him. We paid his wages. So anti-Spurs. Okay, you supported Arsenal. Big deal. So anti-Spurs. There was some great. You could have a 5-hour stream just on what happened in the Arsenal Spurs game on the field. So it was a very, very good game. Very, very good game. I'm going to get into transfers a little bit because we've been linked with a few players. We're always linked with a few players, but one in particular, Marcus Edwards, ex-Spurs player. Is he coming home? Do we want him to come home? The Spurs youth player, once upon a time. But before we go further, I'm going to get in the chat, see what people are saying. As I always say, and as we always do on these solo shows where it's just me or whether it's just someone else streaming, it is me. I'm Tommy from the Hotspur Hood. Today, I try and get as interactive as possible. So let's see what people are saying. Big up T. Jacob, how you doing, my friend? Dead chat sort of bit. Yeah, it should pick up. It might pick up. Look, there's a lot of other people streaming at the same time. I get a lot of the views on the recordings, but I appreciate you being here, even if there isn't many of us. I think we've got 14 people watching. It'd be great if we got 14 likes. We should do really. As we go into the people's chat, see what people are saying. We've got 10 likes. Come on. If you haven't liked, please make sure you do. It's free as is subbing. Imagine my shock. Lucas leaves, Levy and wins a trophy. Yeah, it's unbelievable. Keep coming back to it. But the guy looks happy. Fair play to him. He looks happy. And we can say, oh, it's a Mickey Mouse Cup, the Brazilian Cup. It's not. He won it with Sao Paulo, his hometown club, Lucas. And there's 92 clubs in that Brazilian trophy, part of that Brazilian trophy. So it's not as easy as some people say. It really isn't. Right. Imagine my shock. Levy leaves. Sort Bill, that's the Tottenham way. Get your cash from Levy's stash and then go win somewhere else when you're done. It's a sad state of affairs, but it is the affairs that we're going through and have been for a long, long time. Over 100 trophies from, I don't know if that's just ex-players and managers. I think it's just ex-players. You count the trophies from managers as well. I mean, Nuno won the Saudi league. And to be fair, that's not an easy league to win now with the strength and depth there. It certainly won't be this season. I think he's a manager of Al Hilal, isn't he? There's 20 teams in that league, Saudi Arabia. So, he's gone on to win things. We know Jose won the Europa League, didn't he? Or was it the conference? He won the Conference League, yeah. The list goes on. The list goes on. Players and managers. Big up Tommy Elias. How you doing, my friend? What's happening, big man? Elias used to come on a lot, but we stopped doing over the summer. We stopped doing since the summer, we stopped doing the Transfer Friday shows with guests. So the only lunchtime streams are my solo streams. So, but big up Elias. Make sure you get over to Step Up Spurs and subscribe to the big man. I think Udogie can be worth 100 million, but not at the moment. We're gonna discuss that shortly. Udogie's priceless, and we must do all to stay here. He hates Spurs because he blames the club for ruining his career. We didn't ruin his career, did we? Darren Bent ruined his own career. He was shocking in that first season for us. He's sort of recovered under Harry Redknapp, and then Harry Redknapp with that infamous dig at him. His wife could have finished that chance, which she could have. My nan, who's not alive, could have finished that chance. It was so easy. I mean, you just had to touch it. Bit of a, can we say it? Snowflake, Darren Bent. Sort of put his head went down after that and he wanted to move away. To be fair, he done all right at Sunderland, wasn't he? He went to Sunderland and done all right. Scored a lot of goals for them in the Premier League. And then and then went to Villa for big money and done nothing there either. Whenever he goes for big money, he seems to fail. It's been a long time since the signing has settled in well for us. Udogie and Van der Ven look like they've been here for years. Quality players. Ryan McFarlane, are you the boy that goes to Leave It Out protest? I might be completely wrong. Are you the one that goes on Tottenham on tour quite a lot? Are you that boy? Helps when you get a likeable manager in the doors. That's my point. He blames Spurs for ruining his career. Yeah, we're definitely both in agreement there. So this guy potentially coming home, Marcus Edwards. Lots of rumours of him over the last few weeks. To be fair, over the years, there's been lots of rumours of Edwards coming back because the last few years he has fixed his problems. He's fixed his attitude, which was generally the issue that we heard from previous clubs of his. There are always transfer links. Do you know what? Osherman is the other one I'm seeing now because I don't know. I saw it briefly. I don't know if it's a bit of banter, but Napoli released some ridiculous video. It looks sort of racist to me on Osherman. I don't want to throw it in there and say it's a racist video because I haven't seen it, but apparently now a lot of clubs are looking at Osherman because he's not happy with some video that Napoli released. But Spurs, Osherman, it's not happening. We needed a striker. I still look at the squad. I look at the squad and I still think, why haven't we got a striker? Why didn't we sign Orban? Tony, we should have signed another striker. Tony wouldn't be there anyway. But why did we sign Brennan Johnson? I think he's a good player, but we do need a striker. So, this Osherman links and just strikers in general, I want to be linked to so that we can get one in January. Just Brennan Johnson, it stinks of a Levy signing. The guy's got great potential. Unbalances the team because now we've got about 9 wingers. We need a striker. We haven't got an actual natural striker. I know Son is scoring goals there, but he's not a natural striker. We don't have one in the squad. Richarlison played on the left wing for Everton before his final season. No natural striker. Vélez, who's on the bench for the under-21s, to be quite honest with you. Which, to be fair, I'm not going to dig that out because the under-21s are looking fantastic. But yeah, he's the only natural striker, out-and-out striker we've got in the squad. So I like the links with strikers, but Osherman's not coming. I can't see it in a million years. Back in the day, I used to go to Hotspur Way a lot. I was scouting. I wasn't scouting Tottenham Hotspur players. I was just getting into scouting. So I thought it'd be fun to go there before I'd go to a 3 o'clock kickoff somewhere on a weekend, usually League One or something. I'd go to the 12 o'clock Saturday kickoffs and everyone's talking about Marcus Edwards, one of the most talented players of his generation. Most people would agree. Back there. Do you know what? His rumours, his links are up there with maybe Leandre Damião or Wilfred Zaha, always linked every window. And of course, the window's not open now. But it actually makes sense for multiple reasons. Let me give you 3 reasons why it makes sense. Marcus Edwards coming to Spurs. First up, he's homegrown. Spurs homegrown, which is very handy because we've sold the likes of Kane, who's Spurs homegrown, obviously. Winks, Spurs homegrown. Tanganga, Spurs homegrown. This doesn't really matter this season. We can lose those players this season, not be a problem because we're not in Europe. When we get back into Europe, not only do you need 8 English players, but 4 of them have to come from your academy. Different in the Premier League. You just have to have 8 homegrown English players. When we're back in Europe, hopefully we're back in Europe next season, we will need those 4. So getting these academy players through is exactly what we need. Whether they're ready or not, hopefully maybe Divine comes back and does something after his Port Vale loan. But signing the likes of Marcus Edwards would certainly help with that. Coming from Sporting, it has to be said. We worked well with Porro. He worked fantastically well with Porro on that right-hand side. They know each other very well. It looks like Porro is our starting right-back now, and he should be because Emerson's useless. I will always say Emerson's useless because he is. He's just absolutely hopeless. And then you look at it further in terms of positioning with Edwards. He started as a cam for Spurs, and when he went on his loan spells, he was a cam. So he's moved to the right, can play with Porro. He can play as a cam. And are you telling me if Maddison gets injured, are you telling me Lo Celso's a good backup? Lo Celso's the one you want in there? Because you've got no other natural cam to go in there. So for me, it makes a lot of sense. You get the homegrown talent. You got a right-sided player. You got a cam if Maddison gets injured. And I'm sure Maddison will get injured at some stage. He almost got injured twice already. He's only played 5-6 games and he's got a history of injuries. So that's the second reason. Finally, the biggest reason, number 3, he's a top player. Great goal contributions in terms of goals and assists in a league that's growing massively. Portuguese league is, I would say, it's the 5th biggest league now. I think so. I think it's in the top 5 now. I think Ligue 1 you can put behind. I think you go Premier League, of course. Then you go Serie A. Then you go La Liga, Bundesliga. Then I think Bundesliga is in front of La Liga now. It's very difficult to position Bundesliga, Serie A, and La Liga. But the 5th one used to be France. I don't think it's France now. I think it's Portuguese league's big. So if you're doing well over there, and he's a top player, Edwards. You can get him for £30 million. I'm taking him. So yeah, he ticks a lot of the boxes. Sell Gio in January. Can play back up to Kulu and Mathers, right and Cam. I don't know where that would leave Brennan Johnson though. I talk about Brennan Johnson and Solomon and all these players because Marcus Edwards is predominantly a right winger. Brennan Johnson was predominantly a right winger for Nottingham Forest. We shouldn't have signed Brennan Johnson. I like him, but we should have signed a striker. I like him as a footballer. It just unbalances the team. We really needed a striker. Even if we signed Tony in the summer and got him in after his ban finishes, his betting ban or whatever, what have you, I would have been happy with that and just keep the squad we currently got. Brennan Johnson, it just stinks of a Levy transfer for me. He's young, you can get a couple of good seasons out of him and potentially sell him in the future. That's what it looked like for me with Brennan Johnson. Not the player we needed, although he is a good player. Edwards is a sort of player I think we could have used in front of him and then a striker. Right. Let's get Edwards off there. We're going to go to our next topic and we are going to hit the Udogie topic. We're 25 minutes in. Please make sure you smash that like if you haven't. Orban and Tosin. Bent was shit. Mark Swift, big up, my friend. Bent was terrible. He cost us 16. I always remember the exact fees of when I was younger of transfers because I used to scramble through the newspapers, used to go on CFAX to see the transfer news. It wasn't like everywhere like on the internet. So Bent, it was 16.5 million we signed him for. And it was awful. It did not work out well at all. He scored more goals than he probably should have as well. A lot of his goals were like terrible, just over the line, poacher goals that sort of hit him and ricocheted and went in. He was awful. Orban and Tosin in January. Absolutely. I'm down with that, Adam. Big up, Adam. Striker. We need a striker. Need a backup for Mads badly. We seriously do. Lo Celso isn't it. Lo Celso isn't the man. He's a completely different player as well, Lo Celso. He just doesn't have the talent, that through ball talent. Now that's Ryan Isaacs. Oh, of course. I'm in Ireland, so can't make them due to work and family commitments. Fair enough. You're in fucking Ireland. I don't go there, and I'm in the southeast. I used to go to some of the, the protests, the games. but I went to 2 last year. That's the lowest I've ever gone to since I was 17. I'm 33 now. I can't be fucked with it all. I really can't be fucked with it all. But if anyone out there has a Chelsea ticket, let me know, because I need to go to that game. I think it's in like 5 games' time. After the Liverpool game, we have it pretty easy again. We got Luton, Crystal Palace, I think Fulham, the next 3 games. Then we got Chelsea. I need a ticket for the Chelsea game. I'm going to try and go to that one. That's going to be big. If Pochettino is still there. I said this in pre-season. They don't really know what they're doing, Chelsea, when it comes to transfers, when it comes to managers, when it comes to directors of football. All elements of the club since Bowley took over, they're struggling big time. So I said, everyone's talking about the derby, and it is a big derby. I think this was the biggest derby for us this season, Spurs-Chelsea. Not now at all. You might not even be there, Poch. You might not even make it. I hope he does, because Pochettino in the dugout, in the dugout at Spurs, at White Hart Lane or the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, will be. I want to see the reaction from the Spurs fans. I really do. I'll be an observer. I won't boo him. But who knows? You get built up. You get intoxicated by the people around you. So who knows? They don't need to be from the academy, but they must have trained with the club for a few years before their 21st birthday to be considered club homegrown. Yeah, between 18 and 21. So they need 3 years. They need to be trained 3 years. So I think Phillips, if Phillips stays for another 3 years, he'll fit into that. But we don't know much about Phillips at all. Well, Marcus Edwards ticks the boxes, and he's a very good player. First and foremost, not just for the homegrown purposes, he's a very good player. Orban over Edwards any day for me. Oh, of course, in terms of striker over a winger in general. But yeah, I think we could do with a striker and a cam, get rid of Lo Celso. I think, but how would you do it? You'd probably loan Gill out, Brian Gill. If we're gonna sign those 2 players, let's see. This is how I would do it. So let's say you sign Tony or Orban. We won't sign Tony because he's £60 million. That's the dream. Sign Tony or Orban, and then we'll sign Edwards as a backup to Madders, or another cam as backup to Madders. But it makes sense because he's a very good player. Played with Porro. And then you get rid of Gill. You put Gill out on loan, which I think we would have done anyway. If he didn't have his hip surgery, I think Gill would have been going down on loan. Although we will need him. I don't know if we will need him or not. Perisic injured for the year, pretty much. His career's over. But we got Son and Richarlison on that side. Probably you say Richarlison. Got Solomon on that side too. So I don't think we will. I think loan Gill out, get a cam in, sell Gio, and get a striker in. How are you? Luca, what's happening, my man? How you doing? Tottenham need a striker. Son banging goes. He's not an out-and-out striker, Son. But it looks like this stage of his career where his pace has gone a little bit, maybe the number 9 position does suit him. I tell you what, the 5 goals he scored this season, well, 4 of the 5 goals he scored in the league, I tell you now, were serious finishes. Serious finishes. I mean, you saw it yourself, Luke. I mean, even you're one of the least biased Arsenal fans. I've got to say, those finishes, the Maddison one, where he put in the bottom right corner, and then the one where he was clear of Jorginho, and he looked so comfortable. And last season, he wasn't doing that. He was so scratchy. He was missing chances by a long, long way. He ended up with 10 goals in the league, but the first 6 months he hadn't scored other than against Leicester when he come off the bench for a hat trick. So he looks like he may be suited to the number 9 position now. But yeah, Gill needs to go. Gill needs to go for me. I think Spurs need someone like Evan Ferguson. Yeah, anybody needs someone like Evan Ferguson. You got 150 mil? Luca, you got 150 mil spare? If you have, then let me know. Because that's how much it's going to cost to get that boy, especially from Brighton. They don't even need money now, do they? Brighton are like, we're Brighton in the table. I'm going to put the share screen up a little bit later. I was going to put it up because I like looking to the weekend ahead. Well, I'll put it up now because the league table's here as well. So let's see if I've got the league table here. Brighton are 3rd, are they? I think Brighton are 3rd. I have to make sure I mute this. The copyright. Let's have a look. As I said, on these shows, I like to look a little bit ahead to the weekend, not just for Spurs, mainly for Spurs. But yeah, we're 4th, Brighton are 3rd. And the league table doesn't matter now, but I tell you what, it's not like Brighton have suddenly smashed it, have they? Brighton over the last couple of years have been fantastic. Under De Zerbi, they've been a different kettle of fish. So where they're 3rd now, you can imagine that they're going to be in and around. They're going to be in and around that position. So yeah. They don't need to sell. The whole point is, they don't need to sell Evan Ferguson. And if they do, it will cost a lot of money. Hell, if the Chelsea boy Enzo Hernandez is going for 140 million, 150 million, young striker in the Premier League, homegrown striker in the Premier League, wow, going to cost a lot of money. You've got to talk at that. You've got to talk around that fee, 140, 150 mil. Brighton only sell for the right price. Last game I was at was Southampton at home last season. Be a few years before I get back over. We were all hitting our 40s, so we have all planned long trips abroad. So saving the penalties. You saved the pennies, man. Don't put it into that guy's coffins. Coffers. Coffins. Look, I'm anti-Levy, but I don't want him dead. Can I say that? Yeah. Don't put money in his coffers, not coffin. Spurs need someone like Ferguson. You Spurs. I tell you what, Luca, you need someone like Ferguson. You need a striker, mate. Talking about strikers. You look at pre-season. I said it time and time again. I mean, common sense. I mean, you'd have to be crazy not to see it. Chelsea need an out-and-out striker. Nicholas Jackson's a fantastic player for Villarreal, but he scored a lot of his goals from the wing. He's not one of those solid, hold-the-ball-up strikers. Chelsea needed a striker. As soon as I didn't see him sign one, I'm like, it doesn't matter what Poch does. That's terrible. They need a striker. Same with Arsenal. Nketiah up top. As soon as I saw Nketiah up top, I'm laughing. Same with Gabriel Jesus. Gabriel Jesus is a good player. Very much a pressing striker, but not the greatest finisher. I think Jesus' best position would be in a 4-4-2, like if he's two forwards up front, the second forward, or out wide. So you boys need a striker as well. Since Aubameyang's gone, you need a striker. And to be fair, the final 2 years that Aubameyang was there is fucking hopeless. So you could say 4 or 5 years, Arsenal would need a striker. If you had a striker, I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, you seriously could win the title. That's where I think you're not going to win a title, Arsenal. Yeah, that striker short. I look at the first team. The first team is good enough, more than good enough. Defense is solid. I'm a believer that the foundations of anything begin with the defense, especially football. But you not having a striker, I don't think you can win the title, Arsenal, without that striker. Centre back first, then Cam, then centre forward. I'd say Gil, go. He suits Danny. Big up, my friend. Sonny's striker now. He's done on the wing. I get confused. We've got Daniel Wee and we've got Danny, who's part of the Hotspur Hood. You see him on a Tuesday night. I'm pretty sure this is Danny. Because to be fair, Dan was saying Son, all pre-season, Dan was saying Son should be in as the number 9. And to be fair, he didn't score in the first few games, but he scored a hat-trick against Burnley and he scored. We can condemn Burnley. And I said, look, it's only Burnley. He scored a hat-trick against Leicester last year and done nothing after that. But 2 goals against Arsenal. And they were very, very well taken goals. But that's what Son is. Son was nowhere near his best. He was sort of flinching at chances. If he starts scoring regularly, he could score 20, 25 goals a season now. He's a confidence player. Very different to Harry Kane. Harry Kane doesn't need to keep scoring goals to score goals because he could pretty much score from anywhere. But Son's a very, very much a confidence player. So if he carries on like he is, he's going to score those 20 goals a season. If he gets 20 goals a season, then he's definitely a number 9. It's worked. You're right. I want Tony. You want Tony. I don't know exactly when he's coming back. I think he said 10 months. He got a 10-month ban. So, but a lot of teams are looking at him. You can even argue Man United didn't sign the right striker. Man United had a shocking window as far as I'm concerned. And I tell you what, that's why I didn't take too much from the Man United game. The best striker, the best number 9 we've faced so far this season is Rashford, who has one good season every 4 seasons. One good season every 4 seasons. So let me remove my my other internet screen because my internet's going down a little bit. It should be a bit better now. Apologies if it's freezing a little bit. So yeah, a lot of clubs want Tony Højlund for Man United. I think what it is with Man United is that they're going to sell. Glazers are going to sell this year, so they didn't want to go crazy in a summer window. But I wasn't impressed with the strikers that these clubs brought in. Arsenal, Chelsea, Man United. If they all brought serious strikers in, things could look very different for them. Back to that penalty. It was 100% should not have been given under current rules. If the shot deflects and the penalty should not be given, it was deflected off Maddison's foot when he challenged. I did briefly talk about this at the start. I don't want to go over it too much, a great deal, because it's been talked about. But I'm happy to talk about it if the people in the chat want to talk about it. Fair enough. And the Romero penalty, if on the field, like if I take my Spurs hat off, it's a Ralph Lauren hat, but I've got Spurs. If I take my Spurs top off, no, if I take my Spurs hat off, I still honestly, because I see myself as quite an unbiased fan. I mean, I go against a lot of the heavy Spurs in fans, like the heavy Spurs fans. People say I'm negative. I don't think it was a penalty. I actually don't think it was a penalty. Even if it's stopping the goal, it doesn't matter. If it's on purpose or if it's by accident, whether it's stopping the goal or not, it doesn't matter. So personally, with the rules of the game, personally, I don't know what's written because it changes all the time. I don't think it should be a penalty. But after it wasn't given by the on-field ref and the VAR can't decide, that should be it. It shouldn't go back to a penalty. That should not go back to being a penalty after that. I don't think so. I really don't think so. So if clearly the VAR guy doesn't think it's definitely a penalty, the ref didn't think it was a penalty to begin with, so it shouldn't be a penalty. One of them should have got it right. The referee should have got it right. VAR definitely should have got it right and said that's a penalty. That's not a penalty. So yeah, that's the way I see it. I've got things the other way around there. I've got things the other way around because they both said it. They both said it wasn't a penalty, but it was a penalty. But you know what I'm saying. If both referees agree on something or don't disagree on something, then that should be the decision. I don't like this going back to the TV. I hate this going back to the TV. It should not be like that. And overall, I don't think it was. I don't think it was a penalty. But if I was an Arsenal fan, I would be pissed off if I didn't get that. I'll be very disappointed because you can see Basuma. If you take a back shot on my show the other day, I took a back shot of it. So you only see Romero and you see Basuma on the line. So you think if it doesn't hit Romero, Basuma's going to block it. But no, if you see it live and you see it front on, that was going into the top corner or close to the top corner. It would have been a goal if Romero's arm wasn't there. It was a natural body position. I played centre back all my life. From that angle, that is a natural body position. You didn't go like that. You know, he moved into that direction. That's what you're going to do. If you're going to move your body, that's what happens. So I think they both should have concluded. I think VAR should have concluded it was not a penalty like they did. I think you're taking it back to the TV and then that's it. Decision over. Big up, Tommy. Gary, what's happening, my friend? Rice, £115 million for tapioca. I had a Muller Rice yesterday. Beautiful. I can't believe he actually advertises Muller Rice. It's mad. But I tell you what I don't like is this comparison with Maddison. I don't get this comparison with Maddison. Oh, he's much better. He's a much better player than Maddison. Maddison's a much better player than Rice. They're completely different players. It's like, you just cannot. They're completely different players. Rice is a very, very good midfielder. Players are only worth what you pay for them, what you're willing to pay for them. It's as simple as that. Arsenal wanted a defensive midfielder. They got a very, very good defensive midfielder. That's it. If it works out, it works out. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. The problem Spurs fans, like yourself, David, and myself, have with this is the fact that if Tottenham spent that money, if Tottenham spent £115 million on a player, we're not signing anyone else, or we're signing one player max extra. But it's different for other clubs. It's different for Arsenal. 115 million. They don't care. They go out and spend 50 million on adverts, who's not great at all. 50 million on timber. So for us, it's a big problem if we waste 115 million or we pay over the odds for a player because we know it's going to affect us for the rest of the transfer window. Other clubs, not so much because we've got a tight chairman. Rice is a very, very good player. Is he worth 115 million? What player is worth 115 million? They need a defensive midfielder. They got one of the best. It's as simple as that. Comparing him to Maddison, as some people do, is just foolish. Completely different players. The reality is Rice is one of the best defensive midfielders in the Premier League. It's as simple as that. I think when they took him off, things changed slightly. I think things changed slightly for multiple reasons. We improved in the second half. We had a bad first half. We improved. Players got into the game. Basuma was terrible in the first half. He recovered. Udogie wasn't looking after Saka the way he should. Very nearly got sent off. He was fantastic. So it's a bit of both. Rice coming off. I think Arsenal played their first team against PSV. They played their actual first team. They beat him 4-0. So I think that made a difference in the second half. Their legs went a little bit. Eddie, Paul Havertz, Ivan Toney is the one. There are very few out-and-out strikers these days. There are, but do you know what? Oshiman's an out-and-out striker. Tony's definitely an out-and-out striker because Brentford play Route 1. So he would have been an option. Orban's not really an out-and-out striker, I wouldn't say. So I agree with some of the players that we've been linked with. And to be fair, Brennan Johnson he plays as the number 9 for Wales. So he can play there, but the majority of his career he's played on the right. So I look at him as we've signed another right winger. There's a very few out-and-out strikers here. As just said, that referee for the Liverpool game is Simon Hooper. 3 Prem matches, 8 yellow cards and 0 red cards. VAR official is, and I don't really. The thing is, I used to do before I'd done Spurs shows. I'd done a lot of neutral shows, so I'd be on other people's channels talking about all clubs and every club, every fan of every club, not just on shows when I'm in pubs or whatever. When I'm just talking about Spurs. Every club thinks the refs are against them, whether it's VAR or otherwise. Everyone does. Every single person does. We can say to ourselves, oh, Spurs get the worst decisions. We get worse decisions. But why? Why would we get this? Some of the decisions we get are terrible, but some of the decisions other teams get are terrible. Why would the referees pick on us? Why? Because we win things? They hate the fact that we win things? No. We don't win anything. Nobody hates Spurs, really, because we don't win. We don't compete. They don't really hate Spurs. In fact, a lot of fans like Spurs because, back in the day, we were an attacking team, didn't win anything. They're not afraid of Spurs. So why are the referees going to pick on Spurs? So it's easy for us to say when decisions don't go away, the refs hate us. But it's the same for all clubs. And if it's not the same for all clubs, then tell me why they pick on Spurs. Why? Because we wear white? They don't like white? What? I don't understand. Cockerels? They're allergic to cockerels? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Hello from Korea. What's happening? My friend, how you doing? Big up Korea. And I tell you what, we got some fans over there. I didn't realise until, do you know what? Last year, when we played the K-League All-Stars in South Korea, the reception song got, and then I looked at it, and I heard some news stories, and a third of South Korea support Spurs because of song. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And so many South Koreans come over to watch Spurs. It's magnificent. Now I know a lot of Korean fans. We've got Goguma. We got Will, who I don't always get on with. We got Will Rance, who lived there in South Korea for a long time, so he knows how passionate those fans are. So yeah, big up. David Clark, the ref, is a novice for this kind of game. It is a huge game. I think we've got the game of the weekend again. I really do. We've got the game of the weekend. Arsenal need a goal scorer more than Spurs. Jesus is bang average centre forward. Arsenal win the league. 65 million for Havertz. That's just bad. To be fair, I forgot about that. Havertz was a striker for Chelsea. So if Arsenal looked at Havertz as a striker, then that's what we should be talking about. We should be talking about the fact that they've wasted 65 million pounds on Havertz as a striker when he clearly couldn't score goals for Chelsea. To be fair, for Germany, he plays as a can. For Leverkusen, before he went to Chelsea, he played as a can. So if asked, that is shocking. Not the 100 million pounds they spent on Rice, but the 65 million pounds on Havertz. If they think he's a striker, he's a much better player in centre midfield or cam. That's as bad as Rich. Arsenal keep buying. I think that's worse than Richarlison. I think 65 million for Havertz is worse than Richarlison. Arsenal buying Chelsea rejects, Jorginho as well. I think the Jorginho one was, to be fair, at the time, I felt like it was the right decision, the Jorginho one, because they missed out on Sarcedo. Brighton said, is it Casido or Saicedo? How's it pronounced? Let's say Saicedo, the guy that moved to Chelsea from Brighton this summer. They got that rejected, and to be fair, they needed a centre mid in there, so they just got another centre mid straight away. And Jorginho, Champions League winner, World Cup winner, no, Euro winner a couple of years before. At that time, he was the good signing. But the Havertz one from a rival for 60 million pounds is ridiculous. I think Chelsea done well selling players, really, really well. They got so much money, 60 million pound for Mount as well. Unbelievable. If that's given against you as a fan of any club, you are fuming. Given for you, you will claim it is. I genuinely hate VAR and the refs right now. Every game, they are ruining it. And that's the argument. Just get rid of it. Just get rid of the VAR. Keep the goal line decisions. Keep the goal line decisions. And even offsides. I would scrap offsides because it's not an obvious... Offside rule was brought in because you get an obvious advantage by being well in front of your man. So if they're not well in front of you, if you're not well in front of the defender, and the ref can't see it and the linesman can't see it, then get on with it. Get on with it. Okay, you'll get the odd decision go against you, but I would keep it. I would keep the goal line technology, and I'd get rid of the lot. But we know that's not going to happen. Technology just advances, and it will keep coming. They'll keep trying to change it. I think a challenge system would have been good, like they do in cricket, like they do in tennis. A challenge system might be the options. You get 3 challenges each. If the decision doesn't go your way, you lose the challenge. Find myself watching leagues that don't have VAR and enjoying them more, to be honest. Yeah, Championship's brilliant. Championship's brilliant for so many reasons, not just because of that. Money hasn't completely overtaken the Championship. So I like watching the Championship. I love Serie A, but Serie A are actually the ones that brought it in the first place. They're one of the first leagues that brought VAR in. They actually use it a lot better over there. Both of them love a yellow card. Right, Udogie. Let's talk Udogie. So, Udogie, is he worth £100 million? According to ex-Spur, Gareth Roberts, not Gareth Roberts, is it? It's Graham Roberts. Let me see this headline. Gareth Roberts is a fucking Welsh rugby player, isn't he? Let's have a look. Fucking Gareth Roberts. Graham Roberts, of course it is. Yeah, this headline. But it's been on multiple sources that this is what the guy said. So Spurs legend. I never saw him in my lifetime, Graham Roberts. Apparently he was a no-nonsense great centre-back. Has said that, that he thinks he's worth £100 million. Even this early on in the season, he thinks this guy's worth £100 million. A few other people backed him up. Although Roberts did say, when Nuno was at the helm, first 4 or 5 games that we're going to win the league title, or we're certainly going to be challenging. So you can't always believe what ex-Spurs players say because they were good Spurs players. But everyone's talking about Udogie. Do I think he's worth £100 million? Do you think he's worth £100 million? Let me know in the chat. Look, he was very, very good for Udinese. Or I should say good for Udinese. Very raw. Great going forward, but struggled defensively. We've seen how outstanding he is going forward. Without getting too many assists, even. Strong, very, very strong, powerful runner. Gets his body in a way where it makes it almost impossible to get him off the ball. He's big, his calves, his thighs. Extremely difficult to get off the ball. With him being so strong and young, I believe that there's plenty of time for him to adapt, to getting more assists, to getting more of those crossing areas. Even though with Ange, you are sort of playing inverted fullback, so naturally you're not going to get in those positions. Although I think that will change over the games and months that Ange is there. He will have to adapt. I think he's got everything, every aspect of Udogie, physically and mentally, because mentally he accomplished something on the weekend against Saka. That first yellow card, everyone was thinking at half time, is Ange going to take him off to prevent him from getting a second yellow? He just grew. He was fantastic. Basuma recovered really well, but Udogie, that was the best performance for me. That was the biggest positive for me over the weekend's games. Udogie at left back, the recovery, top player. £100 million, too soon. Just too soon to say whether he can adapt defensively, because he will have to. We haven't played against a great attack yet. A great attack because Arsenal had Martinelli and Trossard not there. To be fair, he had Saka on his side, who was very, very good. But he did struggle against Saka, didn't he? But Nketiah and Jesus, I don't think we played a great attack yet. We will be playing a great attack on Saturday. This is the best attack we've played by a country mile. Gakpo, they could have Jota, they could have Nunes, Diaz, Salah. They got the Leipzig boy putting balls through, McAllister putting balls through, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Robertson. This is the best attack by far. Udogie's going to have Trent Alexander-Arnold on his side and Salah on his side. If he does decent in that game, then fantastic. But this is a real test for Udogie this Saturday for any club. And Liverpool got the best right side in the league. They have. A bit better than Man City. They've got the best right side in the league for me. So real test for Udogie this season. But I love the boy. And I'll tell you what, I don't want to dig him too much, Graham Roberts. I don't want to. But I knew a few people that worked events with him, and some of the people actually come on my channel. 2 of them come on my channel. They ran an event with him, you know, and Hoddle and the likes, Mickey Hazard signing stuff and giving speeches. They don't like him. They said he was horrible. They said he hardly talked to anyone unless you were giving him money, unless they were literally giving him money. Wouldn't sign anything, especially outside of events. So the hospitality people just said he's a fucking wanker, basically. Money obsessed bellend. I don't know much about Graham Roberts other than a lot of people love him, and he was a solid centre back in the day. But yeah, £100 million, bit too soon for me. Bit too soon. Yeah, Saka. I think he dealt with Saka really well. I felt he dealt with Saka really well. He had to. I talk about adapt, but he did have to adapt. He couldn't go in for those challenges like he was before. Like he had to think about it because you know he's going to get a second yellow card and get sent off if he did. And get sent off in North London derby is not the way you want to start your Spurs career. Sending off in North London derby. So he kept his distance and made fewer errors. People think that sliding challenges make a great defender. No, that's false. The best defenders rarely slide tackle. They don't have to. The positioning is so good. And I'll keep coming back to it. And I'll keep coming back to the Serie A. Because back in the day, it was the best league in the world, especially for defenders in the 90s. Back then, Maldini, probably the best defender in the world, said, if I have to make a challenge, if I have to make a tackle, let alone the slide tackle, then I've already made a mistake. And Udogie stayed up, had to stay up because he couldn't afford to get to miss a tackle, and he looked far better. I think he learned a lot. He learned a lot from that performance. I don't want to keep banging on about it, but his performance was the best part of that game for me. I know what Maddison's capable of. I know what Son's capable of already, but I didn't know. I don't really know what Udogie's capable of. Not in the Premier League. None of us do. Right, 53 minutes in. We're almost hitting an hour. We've got like 20 people watching. Please make sure you smash a like. Thank you for being with me today because it's I know there's a lot of people, a lot of Spurs channels streaming all the time now. So whether you're watching live or on the recording, please make sure you smash a like. Really does make a difference. We're only on 18 likes. We've got like 18 people watching exactly now. I know there are people coming in and out, so I know there are people that haven't smashed a like. Please make sure you do, and of course subscribe. On these solo shows, I try and read out everyone's chat. We can get discussing. So get in the chat. Tell me your thoughts. The problem with VAR is that it also dependent on a person's view, and therefore it is open to human error. So what's the point? You got the ref. I agree. Spurs versus Liverpool prediction and breakdown. We're gonna look at that towards the end of the show. We're sort of in the last 15, 20 minutes of the show, but we certainly, of course, massive game ahead. I'll be looking at that in depth. Abdul, Udogie will get better and better. Maybe he will be 100 million in the future. Yeah, I think in general it's not good. Why you value players? I said with Declan Rice, players only worth what a club's willing to spend on him, and that goes for all things. To be quite honest, right. Udogie worth £100 million. We've hit that. Spurs title challenges, and I put this up because I put this on a community post before. But I couldn't actually believe this when I saw this. The fact that we're 28-1 to win the league, so we're full favourites to win the league. I think I saw it 26-1 today. This was from yesterday, but I think today I saw it at 26-1 on Odds Checker. I'd say that this would mean we're favourites for Champions League at least. What do people think? Can we mount a title challenge? Will we win the title? Is it worth a punt? Putting a tenner on Arsenal to return to return 280 quid. Do you know what? Fuck it. Put £100 on it and win £2,800. Yeah. What do people think? Like with Udogie, we've just got to hang on. We've got to hang on a minute. It's 6 league games and 1 Carabao Cup game, which we went out in. We never beat Arsenal. We got a point. Good point, but it was just a draw. Yeah, before we start talking title challenges, we got to wait. But some fans get well, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, get well ahead of themselves. over the last 2 years of doing this show, whether it's guests or on X, Twitter, X, whatever, fans do get well ahead of themselves. And in both cases, if we lose a game, they go crazy. They're depressed. Spurs are this, the manager's this, the players are shit. And if we win a game, everyone's world class. So very, very early on in the season, I try not to be too reactionary. Enjoy the victories and good football, because it is good football at the moment, nonetheless. But there's a difference between being delusional and being a good fan, in my eyes. So 28-1. Save your money. Man City are 5-2. Liverpool 7-1. Arsenal 10-1. Brighton 40-1. Imagine if Brighton won the league. To be fair, I remember at the start of the season when Leicester fans were put like a lot of fans of teams just put money on their club winning the league regardless at the start of the season. And some people won a lot of money putting Leicester on when they won the league title that year. I think there was a Leicester guy every season, regardless if they're in the Premier League, of course, puts £100 on. So he fucking made a fortune out of that. So 28-1, 26-1, save your money. Spurs are not really winning the title. Look, if we mount a title challenge and or qualify for the Champions League, I'm a happy man. I'm very, very happy. Still, that doesn't mean I have to lie to myself with blind faith thinking it's going to happen. But apparently, not lying to yourself makes you a good fan. You have to lie to yourself to be a good fan. Again, I'm going to give, like I did with Edwards, the 3 big reasons, 3 big tests ahead. If I'm going to give reasons to know really what Ange is capable of, and if Ange ball is a thing. Very, very early days. Number 1, playing stronger attacks, and you have to play at least 10 games of the season. Right now we're 6 in, at least 10, probably 12, 14 games. Playing stronger attacks. I just don't think we played against great number 9s yet, or great attacks even. Just great attacks in general. Arsenal's was easily the best, but he didn't have Martinelli and Trossard, and Nketiah up front. This is going to be a big test. Number 2, injuries. How will we cope? Not if we get injuries. We will get injuries. How will we cope? That's another big question. It's not toxic or negative to ask those questions. All managers will be looking at this. All scouting staff, all owners will be looking at this. We're going to supply you players, not just first 11 players, but second 11 players that can come in and do a job. That's why we've got a 25-man squad. So it's not negative to look at what we're going to do if we get injured. If you get injuries. Maddison's the big one. Huge. Already he's become a vital cog in this system. Not just on the pitch, off the pitch as well. We've already given him a vice captain's armband. So he's obviously a big personality off the pitch, making a difference. On the pitch, of course, he's been sensational. He's adapted so quickly. You got Gio behind him, Lo Celso. I don't believe in Lo Celso. I don't think he's up to the task at all. And then if one of the centre-backs get injured, who we don't really know what they're capable of until we play better attacks, Van de Ven and Romero, if one of them get injured, we got Dyer or Ashley Phillips who play 7 games. So that's another big question. Playing against stronger attacks, number 1. Injuries, number 2. How will we react? And number 3, a lot of the time people, if these two go well, which could be the case 6-7 times, 6-7 games times if players fit and keep winning games, attacking in games. We have to get to the point where opposition teams and managers will see what Ange's system is, and they'll be able to prepare for it. De Zerbi at Brighton is showing that there's longevity to his style. Even teams know how De Zerbi is going to arrive at your club. They know how he's going to set up, I should say, Brighton's De Zerbi. They're going to know, teams are going to start knowing how Ange is going to set up against us. How do we react then? Opposition managers are beginning to know what to expect. And then we've got to adapt once more. De Zerbi's done it fantastically, still pretty early on in his career, to be fair. But 6 games in, Ange will have to adapt at some stage. We'll have to. So we'll see. There's 3 big question marks. And it's the same with all managers, all clubs, new managers and new clubs. It goes for everyone, not just Spurs. So they're the 3 big questions before we start talking about we're going to be winning the league. and fighting for titles. That's just my response to it. And to be fair, we've seen a backup in a Fulham game. Made a lot of changes for that Fulham game at centre-back and at Cam. Lo Celso came in. Sanchez came in. And we lost. We were absolutely shocking as well. We probably should have lost 3 or 4-0 against Fulham, but we ended up losing. So, big questions ahead. We need players to stay fit. And in January, we need some more. We need some more bodies in. We really do. We need some more bodies in. So my tip of the day: save your money. Save your money at 28-1. Right, let's get back in the comments. We've just hit an hour. We've just hit an hour. We've just hit an hour in. Let's see how many likes we've got. Are we up to 20? It'd be magnificent if we're up to 20. It'd be fantastic. I know these lunchtime shows, people are working. There's other people streaming. So we want 21 likes. Thank you ever so much. Get us up to 25. Get us up to 25. That'd be fantastic. That'd be absolutely brilliant. First milestone. That'd be fantastic. Prediction and breakdown. Yeah, I'll get back to that. Smash a like. Thank you very much. And Luca is on the road to 5K himself. Luca AFC TV. He does a lot of non-Arsenal stuff as well. And even if you just want to troll him, get over there and subscribe to him. But not if you haven't subscribed to me. Spurs fans are as tight as Levy when it comes to the like button. Ledley would just take the ball, call as you like. Exactly, Nana Hotspur. And you look at the best centre-backs in this league. Rio Ferdinand was magnificent. How often did he slide tackle? Vidic. Cannavaro's the last player to win the Ballon d'Or. To be fair, Cannavaro used to slide tackle a fair amount, but I think Cannavaro was overrated. Maldini should have won a Ballon d'Or at one stage over Cannavaro. Cannavaro's still a very good player, but he sort of had to challenge Cannavaro because he was 5'9", 5'8", 5'9". He had no choice. His legs weren't big enough. But the best centre-backs, they stay on their feet. No chance of a title tilt, possibly top 6. And I'll be happy if we get top 6. I'll be delighted if we get Champions League. I'll be delighted if we stay in the title race. Anyone can stay in the title race for the first half of the season, quite frankly. Remember under Jose, before he got sacked? We were top in December. We were top in December. And it just all fell apart completely. We ended up squeezing into 7th, was it? Under Mason. Mason took over towards the end of the season. Sacked Jose before a cup final, ended up 7th. No chance of a title tilt. I agree. Spurs podcast. Ignore that we don't need the pressure. We just need to quietly go about our business. Absolutely. And I'll tell you what, another thing that helps that, Europe, is the 3 o'clock kickoffs. 3 o'clock Saturday kickoffs. Haven't got as many eyes on us. And that does make a difference. It really does. 6 games, mate. That's all. It is very early. Very, very early, Mark. Spurs and Arsenal, same issues. First 11, good. Backup, very poor. For Bar, Benton, Kurt and Timber, yeah, I'd agree. I think Arsenal, they signed better. They signed better backup because they've got Gabriel, I don't think Gabriel's that great. I think Saliba makes Gabriel look so much better. I think that was the case with another controversial opinion, Vertonghen and Toby Alderweireld. I think Vertonghen made Alderweireld look twice the player. Vertonghen was absolutely sensational. Toby was a very good player. I think that's what's happening at Arsenal. I think Saliba's making Gabriel look better. So if they had Timber as backup as centre-back, who could also play left-back as well, that's why they let the left-back go. They let Tierney go, didn't they, Arsenal? Because Timber could play left-back, centre-back, right-back. So I think they actually done the job in getting back up better, but that was a big injury, and they should not have sold Xhaka. Why would you sell Xhaka? Experienced player. I'm glad they did. Why would you sell Xhaka? It's crazy. But I think we are similar. I mean, we've got similar goalkeepers in many ways, haven't we? We didn't get our first target, which was Raya. And we got our second target, Vicario, who's looked very good so far. I think he's up there with one of the man of the matches on the weekend, I have to say. Long way to go. Top 6 finish for me. If Ange gets a few players in January, then it gives us a change of top 4 soon for the title and trophy talk. Give Ange's players time. And we got a long way until the January transfer window still. The depth really takes effect in December, the Christmas period, when you have like 3 games a week for a couple of weeks. That really takes effect because every game makes a big difference of where you are in the table. And you imagine you've got 6 games in 2 weeks around mid-December to end of December, and then FA Cup starts first week of January, and you've got you got a heavy schedule. You're gonna have to rotate then. You have to, or your players will definitely get injured. It's going to be a big point. That's what happened with Jose. Quite frankly, we didn't have the backup, did we? So that fucked us. That fucked us up. Always love how being balanced and realistic results in being called a negative fan. It does a lot, especially on social media outlets. But then, look, I'm a victim. I contradict myself in many ways when I say this happens on social media, and then I say you shouldn't take it seriously. But really, you shouldn't take Twitter seriously, X seriously. I learned that over the years. So don't be worried about being called a negative fan. It doesn't usually happen on the YouTube channel as such. More so on the on that social media stuff where you haven't got faces and people just tweet rubbish. Right. The weekend ahead. Let's get this share screen back up. I like looking at the fixtures, see what's happening. There's one I'm looking at quite a lot that I didn't think I'd be looking at pre-season, and that's what Bayern Munich have got coming up. And I'll admit it, I do look to see what Bayern Munich have got coming up. So this is the league table. This is not what we want. Let's go to the fixtures. So Aston Villa, Brighton, big game. Two very, very good teams to start the Saturday off. The two live games on Saturday are brilliant. They're going to affect us one way or another. Aston Villa versus Brighton. As I said, Brighton in third. Villa are a very good team. And the fact that we've got Liverpool next and Liverpool beat Villa 3-0 tells me that, that's going to be Liverpool going to be a tough game. Liverpool's always a tough game. But the fact that they beat a very good Villa team 3-0. So Villa, Brighton, Everton, Luton. Everton, I think, got their first win on the weekend. Luton, we've got next. After Liverpool, we got Luton next. Man United, Palace. I think Man United got their first win in a while. Palace, we've got in 2 games' time, I think. So we're going to be playing Palace away at Selhurst Park. We don't have a great record there. So we'll keep an eye on those two. Newcastle, Burnley, big game. Newcastle knocked Man City out last night, didn't they? The League Cup. They're sort of getting back now. Beat Sheffield United 8-0 away. Bournemouth versus Arsenal. Can Arsenal lose an unbeaten run? I chatted about this on Tuesday. I think they can away. Bournemouth have some good players. They really, really do. I don't think they got the right managerial appointment. I think they should have kept Gary O'Neill. If they did, I'd give them more of a chance in this game. I don't think Arsenal will lose their unbeaten run, but they could drop points. West Ham versus Sheffield United. They started the season off well without Declan Rice, but I think West Ham will falter. They will falter as the season goes on. Wolves, Man City. I think Man City are 6 out of 6, aren't they? Out and out favourites to win the league, and rightly so. Tottenham, Liverpool, of course, 5:30 Saturday. Is it Sky Sports or is it TNT Sports? Hopefully it's Sky. If not, I'm going to have to go down a pub. Sunday, 2 o'clock, Nottingham Forest, Brentford. Is that the only game Sunday? There's only 9 fixtures here. I think there might be one on Monday as well, but that's odd. There's only 1 fixture on the Sunday. Very odd. And look, we've got more odds here of the Premier League winner. So we got Man City 1.36, Liverpool 7.5, Arsenal 8, and we're 26-1 on this. On Bet365, we're 26-1. So big weekend ahead. And I tell you what, I mentioned Harry Kane. They're playing the exact same time as us, away from home to Leipzig, their biggest game in the league so far. Harry Kane, they're going to be playing at the exact same time, 5:30. It's madness. He's doing all right over there, isn't he, Harry? He's doing all right. Let's look at Serie A, because I'm a big fan of Serie A. Let's see. I haven't even looked at these fixtures. I looked briefly at the other ones. Juventus beat Lecce, Milan 3-1. They got 3. They separate these games very oddly now in Serie A. Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. They do it a lot. Atlanta, Juventus, AC Milan, Lazio. That'd be a big game. What's the league table now? Milan clubs at the top. It's a much more competitive league now than it used to be. Much more competitive. I do love the Serie A. That leaves what? That leaves La Liga. I don't even know what's happening in La Liga, to be honest. I really, really don't. Let's see. I'm guessing who the top 2 teams are going to be. Girona. I know they've got a few wins, but Girona. Jeez. Wow. That's unbelievable. Who have Girona been beating? I want to take a look at this, actually. Let's mute this. Who have Girona been beating to get to be top. Wow. Just going through the weekend games and can't believe this. So they beat Getafe 3-0. Sevilla. Sevilla are terrible now, though, aren't they? Villarreal very good. So, Girona. I couldn't see that coming. Jesus, that's madness. Absolute madness. Right. So to end things, I want to talk. I want to end things with the Liverpool game, looking at both teams briefly. But before we do go, before we do get into this final segment, please make sure you smash a like. And Jason from Total Spurs, what's up? What's up, brother? My almost post-match comments would have been Total Spurs 1 p.m. Saturday. Make sure you join us for that. They've got a great thing going over there, and it will be naturally a preview for the Liverpool game that's taking place at 5:30. Okay, so this Liverpool game, no funky visuals. Both sides, as we know, sitting pretty in the league. Liverpool second, us fourth. We're on 14 points. They're on 16 points. Both sides unbeaten. They've obviously won 5 and drawn 1. We've won 4 and drawn 2. They're very much unbeaten because they're one in the Europa League. And key comment, Europa League. Remember, Liverpool didn't have a good season last year. They really did not have a good season. They didn't get into the top 4. It was, Man City, Arsenal for the first time in years, Newcastle, and Man United. So they need a reaction. Klopp and Liverpool, and they're getting it so far. So that Liverpool game, both sides unbeaten. They did beat Leicester last night as well in the Carabao Cup. I watched a bit of the game, and I tell you what, when they were 2-1 up, they were struggling. Liverpool. Leicester had a goal scoring opportunity, like a really, really good chance. I can't remember who it fell to get back into that game at 2-2. But they went on to win 3-1. But that's good. They got, I want to say, tired players from that game going into Saturday. But looking at their starting lineup, they don't really, because they started pretty much their second team in that game. It was pretty much their second team in that game last night. Where it's slightly different for Arsenal last week. Against PSV, they played their first team. They won 4-0. So it's pretty much their complete second string. So I don't think the Leicester game is really going to hurt them a great deal. Where I do think the Arsenal game, second half, they probably felt it on their leg because Arsenal are not used to playing Champions League football these days. It's the first time in 7 years. I'm not making excuses for them. We were fantastic in the second half against Arsenal. But Liverpool are going to be tip-top. They're going to be fresh. They've got Salah, Alexander-Arnold on that side. Going to be a real test. But we got Maddison. We got a defence that's doing well. Still conceding goals, but pressing high. The midfield quartet, Bissouma, Sarr, Maddison especially, Son scoring goals. There's a lot to be positive about. There's a hell of a lot to be positive about. But let's get this straight. This is going to be our biggest test by far, in my opinion, by far. Our biggest victory so far, you could say, it's got to be the Man United victory, isn't it? Beating Man United any season, even if they're not at their best, is a great victory. And we won 2-0. Kept a clean sheet in that one. So that was a very good victory. Easily our best performance, best result, I should say, so far. Best performance was Arsenal. They beat Newcastle 3-0. As I said not long ago, Leicester they beat Newcastle 2-1 away. They beat Villa at home 3-0. And I think Villa are going to do some damage this year, Liverpool. So Liverpool got 2 very good wins. Both play with a similar style. We play with a 4-2-3-1. But as we saw against Arsenal, it's certainly more of a 4-3-3. Where we had Sarr and Bissouma. Most games this season, we had Sarr and Bissouma and Maddison just in front as they can. But against Arsenal, definitely Maddison was coming back as a almost defensive mid to get the ball. So Liverpool played 4-3-3. A lot of times we play 4-3-3. I think in this sort of game against the bigger boys, we're gonna adopt 4-3-3 again. So very similar styles. Both like to attack up the flanks. Against Arsenal, we definitely had the better attacking fullbacks. Porro is much better attacking than Ben White, although Ben White's better defensively. Udogie, better attacking than Zinchenko, although Zinchenko done all right. This game, we've got Robertson, who's very good at attacking, and Trent Alexander-Arnold, who's very good at attacking. So similar system. It's going to be tough. Going to be very, very tough. As I said, the best number 9 we played this season is Rashford. It's as simple as that. Rashford, for Man United. First game was Brentford. They didn't have Tony, obviously, so they had Visa. He's not great, is he? Fulham had Munoz. They sold Mitrovic, and we lost to them. Burnley, who did Burnley have? They had Cameron Archer, wasn't it? No, Sheffield United had Cameron Archer and McBurney. So we haven't played against a good number 9, a good full attack until this Liverpool game. So they got strength in depth. Diaz, Gakpo, Jota, Salah. Real test. If we get a point out of this, we've done very, very good. Very, 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 very well to get a point out of this, even at home. So 2 unbeaten sides, 5:30 Saturday. I can't wait. I'm sure many of the Spurs fans can't wait because we're playing attractive football. If nothing else, we're playing really attractive football. And we ended that Arsenal game. I say ended. The second half, we were the better team. I don't think Ange's substitutions were great, Maddison and Son. If you're going to take Maddison on because of his injury, you don't take Son off on a hat-trick in a North London derby. So the last 20 minutes of the game, we weren't great. But we get Son back on the pitch. We get Maddison on the pitch at the start of the game. We have to be fully confident because second half, we did react. We reacted twice to Arsenal going behind, literally. You say metaphorically, but literally, because we equalised on 2 occasions. So, it's going to be big game Saturday. Right, I think that's a good time to wrap the show up. Thanks ever so much for watching. I know this is a very difficult time to watch on a weekday, so I appreciate you being here, the people that have been here. Please make sure you smash a like. Let me see how many likes we're on. It'd be wonderful. We had a good 20 odd people in not long ago, so we should have close to 25 likes. That'd be great. 25 likes. Yes. Thank you ever so much. That's a nice little milestone to hit. If you haven't yet hit the like, please do. On the road to 3K subscribers, so make sure you subscribe. Also, I try and read out everyone's message in this in the interactive shows, on the solo shows. African Cup, no, Bissouma Osai is a very, very good point. Very good point. We have a better manager, a better midfield. We have belief, and Hugo not in goal. We're going to give it a go. Absolutely. Confidence. We have momentum going into that game. Serious momentum going into that game. Better manager? Oh, do you mean just a better manager in general, or a better manager than Klopp? I don't think we've got a better manager than Klopp. I think Ange got the players he needed for his system, quite frankly. I think you got a Cam, which he absolutely needs, in Maddison, and you got a better centre-back. Conte had Davis, Dyer, and Romero. Romero's injured for half the time. So I don't know if we can say Ange is a better manager than Conte. I know we can say he's more attacking, but 57 years, Ange hasn't really won much, has he? Other than SPL, and Conte's won everything. So we've got a good manager, and I think we've got players that suit his style. We just have to see how the cookie crumbles. I think we'll get a draw, to be honest. I don't predict results anymore. I've done that plenty of times. I don't predict. I don't want to curse it. I ask when I do these previews, I ask other people if I have guests on about their predictions, but I don't predict anymore. But a point predicted from Total Spurs. I'm sure when they do their show on Saturday, you'll see the other boys' predictions as well, if Delane and Brad are going to be on. So before I go, please make sure you get the notification bell on. They're going to be here Saturday. And don't forget to subscribe to the Total Spurs YouTube channel. Peace out. Stay safe. Stay free. Stay classy, Little Whites. Peace out.